Hello everyone. Welcome back to English Weaver. Today we're talking about New Year traditions and how to describe them in English. We'll take it step by step to make your English practice simple, enjoyable, and easy to understand. So how are you doing today? Ready to get into this?
I'm doing great. And yeah, I'm really excited. It's such a universal topic, isn't it? The whole New Year thing.
It really is. I just love the feeling around this time of year. There's so much, I don't know, hope in the air.
Totally. It's funny how a single date on the calendar can just, reset everyone's mood at the exact same time. It's kind of magical.
It is. And speaking of that, if you find our conversation helpful today, we'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe or give us a like or even share with a friend.
Yeah, that would be amazing. It really helps us out.
Thank you so much to everyone. Okay, so let's start with that feeling, that idea of a fresh start.
Right. The clean slate.
Exactly. It feels like this global reset button gets pushed on January 1st. Everyone just sort of agrees that the past is the past and we can all start from zero. It's this huge sense of anticipation, you know?
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, for you personally, when January 1st rolls around, does that clean slate feel more like motivation or does it feel like pressure?
That is such a good question. I think it's a mix, but I lean more towards motivation. For me, the pressure comes a little later, maybe a week or two in, when I realize I haven't, magically become a whole new person overnight.
I get that.
Yeah.
So that initial feeling, that excitement, does it last for you or do you find it starts to fade pretty quickly once reality sets in?
It fades for sure. I think the real challenge is holding on to a little piece of that January 1st energy and carrying it into, say, February. What about you? How do you try to start the year? Like, what's the vibe you're going for on that first day?
I aim for a calm but intentional vibe. I used to be all about jumping right into action, but now I try to make the first day really peaceful. I think it sets a better tone for the whole year rather than starting with, like, frantic energy.
Oh, that's a great approach. A calm start. I like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting to think about why that one date holds so much power for everyone. It's technically just another day, right?
Right. But it doesn't feel like it.
Not at all. I think that the collective energy, the fact that billions of people are all thinking about the same thing, a new beginning at the same time, that creates this incredible atmosphere that you just can't ignore.
The atmosphere, yes, that's the word for it. Have you ever been somewhere where that New Year's atmosphere was just like electric? Just an unforgettable feeling.
Absolutely. I remember one year I wasn't even at a big party. I was just with a small group of friends at a quiet lookout point over the city. And as the fireworks started going off everywhere below us, there was this profound sense of shared silence and hope. Yeah, it wasn't loud or crazy. It was just this quiet, collective awe. We weren't shouting, just watching. And you could feel everyone in the city below us feeling the exact same thing. That feeling of connection was way more powerful than any loud party I've ever been to.
That sounds incredible. It really does. And I totally know what you mean about struggling to keep that fresh start energy going. It's so easy to be optimistic on day one and so hard on day 15 when you've already, skipped the gym twice.
The day 15 struggle is real. It's when the magic wears off and the actual work begins.
Exactly. And I think part of that work, before we even look forward, is actually looking back, the sort of informal tradition of reflecting on the past year.
Oh, for sure. The annual review. I think almost everyone does it, even if they don't call it that. You just naturally find yourself thinking, wow, what even happened this year?
So true. It's like your brain needs to sort of file away the last 12 months before it can open a new folder. What kind of memories or experiences tend to stand out for you when you do that?
It's usually the unexpected things, I find. Not necessarily the big planned events, but the small moments or the things that taught me a lesson I wasn't expecting to learn. The moments of, like, surprising growth.
I love that. So when you do this reflection, do you have a structured process? Like, do you sit down with a journal and write out lists of wins and losses? Or is it more of a casual mental summary while you're driving or something?
I'm definitely in the casual mental summary camp.
Yeah.
I find that if I try to make it too structured, it becomes this big, intimidating task. And I end up focusing only on the big, obvious things.
Right.
Whereas if I just let my mind wander, I remember the smaller, more nuanced stuff, the real texture of the year.
Is there a specific time you find is best for that? For me, it's always that weird, quiet week between Christmas and New Year's. The world just seems to slow down.
That is the perfect time. It's like a built-in pause button for reflection. The pressure's off work, but the New Year's pressure hasn't quite kicked in yet.
And how does that passage of time feel to you? When you look back, does the year feel like it flew by, or did it drag on? Oh, it always feels like it flew by. Every year seems to go faster than the last, which is a little terrifying, honestly.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why taking a moment to intentionally reflect is so important. Otherwise, the years just start to blur together into one big lump.
They really do. My way of doing it is actually kind of digital. I'll scroll way back through the photos on my phone from the beginning of the year.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I don't just look at the highlights, the vacation pictures. I look at the boring, everyday photos, a picture of a meal I made in March, or a screenshot of a funny text. It's amazing how a simple, random photo can bring back the entire feeling of a specific day.
That's so smart because our memory is so unreliable, right? We only remember the big peaks and the final ending.
Mm,
But those little photos, they give you the real story.
exactly. It helps me get a much more honest picture of the year, the good and the bad, not just the version my brain decided to remember.
I think that's so key. Reflection isn't just about patting yourself on the back. I remember one time I was looking back on a project that I thought was a total failure, just a disaster.
Mm.
But as I was thinking about it months later, I had this sudden realization. The project failed, yeah, but because it failed, I had to learn a whole new skill to fix the mess. And that skill ended up being like the most valuable thing I learned all year.
Wow, that's a powerful realization, turning a failure into the biggest win.
Exactly. But I never would have seen it that way without taking the time to really, sit with it and reflect properly. It's so necessary.
It is, and all of that reflection, all that looking back, it naturally leads to looking forward. Which brings us to the big one, the concept of New Year's resolutions.
Ah, yes, resolutions. The art of making promises to yourself that you might keep for, 3 weeks?
Exactly. I'm so curious what you think about this. Why do we feel this need to make these grand declarations on January 1st? Why not just set a goal in April?
I think it goes back to that fresh start feeling we talked about. It feels like the right time. It's a culturally approved moment for self-improvement. Everyone's doing it, so it feels less daunting, maybe.
That's a good point. The social pressure, or maybe social support. So, for you, do you believe in making big formal resolutions? Or do you prefer to just set smaller goals as the year goes on?
I've completely given up on the big formal resolutions. I found they just set me up for failure. Now I try to focus on creating systems or habits rather than chasing a specific outcome.
Systems, not goals. I've heard that before. What do you think is the biggest challenge when you're trying to stick to a new habit right at the start of the year? For me, it's just exhaustion.
I think you're right. It's trying to do too much at once. We tell ourselves, okay, new year, new me. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m., run a marathon, learn Mandarin, and become a vegetarian.
Yes, all on the same day.
All on January 1st. And it's not sustainable. Your brain just short circuits from the overload, and then we feel guilty when we can't maintain that impossible standard.
It's so true. So when people talk about these goals, what kind of language do they use? Do you notice a pattern?
It's usually very outcome focused. I will lose 20 pounds. I will get a promotion. It's rarely about the process, like I will go for a walk for 10 minutes every day.
Mm.
The second one is so much more achievable, but it doesn't sound as impressive,
That's the key, isn't it? The impressive sounding goal versus the one that actually works.
It is, and I learned this the hard way. I have a pretty funny story about a failed resolution, actually.
Oh, please tell me. We need to hear this.
Okay, so a few years ago, I decided my resolution was to become a morning person. I was determined. I read all the books. I bought a special alarm clock that mimics the sunrise. The whole deal.
You are all in.
I was so all in. I told everyone my grand plan was to wake up at 5:30 every single morning and, meditate and journal and be incredibly productive before the sun was even up.
Sounds amazing in theory. How did it go in practice?
The first day, January 1st, was great. I did it. I felt like a superhero. Day 2, also great. Day 3, I hit the snooze button once, but I still got up. By day 4, it was a full-on war with my alarm clock.
I know that word.
By the end of the first week, I was so sleep deprived and miserable. I remember one morning I turned off the alarm, fell back asleep, and woke up in a panic 2 hours later, feeling like a complete failure. And it wasn't even mid-January yet.
Oh, no. That feeling is the worst, when you
Ah.
feel like you've ruined the whole year in the first week.
Exactly. And my big mistake was that my goal was too rigid. It was wake up at 5:30 or you're a failure. There was no room for being human, no room for, being tired.
Right, it was all or nothing. So what happened? How did you recover your motivation after that? Did you just give up on the whole thing?
For a while, yeah, I felt pretty defeated. But then a month or so later, in February, I decided to try again, but differently. I threw out the big impressive goal.
And what did you replace it with?
My new goal was just put my feet on the floor as soon as the alarm goes off. That was it. I didn't have to meditate or journal. Just get out of bed. And it was so small, so simple that I could actually do it. And over time, that tiny habit grew into a real morning routine. But it had to start small.
That is such a great story. It's the perfect example. It's not about the grand gesture on January 1st. It's about the small, sustainable action in February. I love that.
It was a big lesson for me. Forgive yourself for the slip up and just start again, but smaller.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about the individual side of things, reflection, goals. But a huge part of New Year's is, of course, the social part, the togetherness.
Oh, definitely. It's a deeply social holiday at its core.
Why do you think those shared moments, being with friends or family as the clock strikes 12, why are they so important to us?
I think it's about marking time together. It makes the transition feel real and official. When you're with people you care about, you're not just moving from one year to the next as an individual. You're moving forward as a group, as a community.
That's a lovely way to put it. You're facing the future together.
Exactly. And it amplifies all the good emotions, the hope, the excitement. It's all more powerful when you see it reflected in the faces of your friends. It confirms that what you're feeling is real and shared.
So true. So when it comes to these celebrations, what's your personal preference? Are you a small, quiet gathering person or a big, loud party person?
I have definitely become a small gathering person over the years. I used to love the energy of a huge party, but now I find it a little impersonal.
Huh.
I'd much rather have a real conversation with a few close friends than shout over loud music with 100 people.
Me too, 100%. For you, what's the most important element of a good New Year's celebration? Is it the food, the music, the conversation?
For me, it's the conversation and the laughter. It's about having that space to genuinely connect, to talk about the year that's passed and the one that's coming. That's what makes it feel meaningful, not just like any other party.
Yes, the meaning behind it. My favorite kind of New Year's gathering is when you're with a group of people you're so comfortable with that you can be both reflective and silly.
The perfect balance.
It is. You can have a serious, heartfelt conversation 1 minute and then be laughing uncontrollably the next. That feeling of deep comfort and shared joy, that's the feeling I look for. It's about feeling safe and optimistic with your people.
That's it. It's that sense of a shared foundation as you step into the unknown of a new year. Whether you're alone or with a crowd, I think that's the core of it all. Looking forward with a sense of positivity.
I agree completely. That's the universal thread. And before we wrap things up, I thought maybe we could offer just a quick, simple tip for talking about all this in English.
Great idea.
One really easy and common phrase you'll hear everywhere is just, cheers to the new year. It's simple, it's friendly, and it works in almost any situation, whether you're making a toast or just ending a conversation.
That's a perfect one. And I'd just add that practicing talking about these common topics, holidays, plans, reflections, is one of the best ways to improve your conversational English. It's something everyone talks about, so it's incredibly useful.
Such a good point. Practice is everything. Well, this has been such a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of your thoughts.
My pleasure. It was a lot of fun to unpack all of this.
And a huge thank you to all of you for listening. We really hope this chat gives you some food for thought about your own New Year's feelings and traditions.
And remember, daily listening and speaking practice, even just a little bit, makes a huge difference.
It really does. And don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share this if you found it useful. It helps us more than you know.
We'll be back soon with more conversations.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye for now.